That's the TikTok I'll be doing. I've been trying to do.
You want to go to bed?
Mm.
I'm gonna go lay down.
I ain't gonna be ready for what comments.
Turn back. What was it? Turn back for the comedians. You wait a minute. You can turn a little bit towards you, son.
Hey y'all, hey! We're back.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
We in there?
We in the next one where you're gonna have to. Can you turn your camera a little bit so we can see you teach from the podcast? Turn my camera. Sorry, I'm gonna be all up close and personal. Turn my camera. Turn your computer a little bit because we can't see you. But hey, y'all, hey, it's your girl Angel Divine, which I already knew that. Oh wait, I'm not lying. He's saying, I didn't know I was live right here. I thought I was on live right here. Are we ready? Yes, we are ready.
We here now.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
I was here now.
That's my fault. Hey everybody, hey, my beautiful faces. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We are really appreciative of you. I know y'all miss it. Did y'all miss me? Y'all miss us.
You were very.
Did y'all miss me? Did y'all miss us? Yeah, I know y'all missed us because it's been what, 2 weeks? 3 weeks? I feel like it's almost a month. It probably has been. I finished school May 11th and we ain't been back since I finished school. Listen, y'all, God has been having me on this journey and I'm still trying to figure it out. I be wanting to do my own thing and he be like, sit down. Sit your neck back. Okay. He be like, sit down. So I've been doing some real life searching. So real life soul searching. God has really been having me in this thing. But we're gonna talk about that later because it is not about me today. Today it is about the altar of beds that does not fit. Beds that don't fit, y'all. I would like to introduce to some. We didn't introduce ourselves. Oh. This is from the podcast. Y'all hate Shadow and Divine, but y'all already knew that. She said we didn't introduce ourselves, but y'all know who we are. Okay, that's all right. Y'all know who we are. Okay, but I want to introduce the lady of the night, okay? The author of Beds Don't Fit. That don't fit. Miss Risha! Miss Risha back, y'all. Be good. My hair's still healing, y'all. And let us just say this real quick. This lady, first of all, shout out to Lady Kills for bringing you to us because listen, if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even know this beautiful lady. Shout out to Lady Kills who is on her sister to sister tour. Y'all need to check her out because the girl is popping. Okay, she introduced us to this gem. Who is popping? You hear me? Popping like popcorn.
And then I got a chance to meet you guys, both of you, and all the things that you're doing.
Yes.
I'm so excited to be in Lansing.
Hey, 21-7. She didn't know where we was at. She thought we was in France, Sad, Nasty.
I said, where the gas station? How many y'all gas?
We got some. Oh, you from Detroit, right? This ain't that one got gas stations on every corner.
Should I lock the door? Is it okay?
No. Should we lock the door? Yeah, I'm trying to lock the doors. Okay, I'm locked it up. I don't keep my doors locked, unfortunately.
You do not.
They know I got guns. Can I say that on live?
They don't
flicker. I meant what I said. Okay. But anyway, so tell us about you. Who is Miss Risha Mack? And so we gotta start from the beginning, okay?
I don't know. That's a broad question, but I don't know where you jump in. I'm an author. I'm a writer. I'm an educator. I'm a mother. I'm even a nana.
Okay. Wear many hats.
Yeah. So primarily, I've been writing a long time. I started off like poems and stuff, like stuff that people could relate when I was younger, or as a child would write, and then my family would come together, gather in the living room, and it was this big thing. They made me just feel like I was just so good at writing. So that's what I always did. I always, in some kind of way, performed my writing. So that went from being my childhood, my adolescence, to at school, high school, college, and then I started writing. I'm getting ready to write some plays, so I'm excited about that. So I still remember that.
I'm gonna have to find the play that I played, and I played the first lady.
So I'm not gonna give too much, but hey, you hitting.
Okay,
right?
baby. I was a bomb first lady. You hear me? I was a hot mess.
See, I need a hot mess for this.
Where I find it?
So I need a hot mess. Oh my
I
goodness.
am the hot mess.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure to get you live on YouTube.
Well, yeah, I just been writing a long time, and I love writing. Just a way to express myself, and you know, it's just something I did. I started as a hobby, so
Okay. Okay, so is this your first book?
it is not my first book. I am authored under my very, 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 very first book was like in the 90s, and I'm doing they felt like a revision of my earlier books. When I first got started, you know, being in the church, Christianity, and all the things that they teach you how to do, how to become, how you should act, and how you should carry yourself. So the first book was called Virtuous Living in the Body of Christ. It was just pretty much off of Proverbs 31.
Okay.
So piggybacking off of that, it was an early book, and then in 2023, I wrote 21 Ways to Avoid Church Hurt Before and After, and that just deals with things that happen in the church, how you heal, and that's been part of my ministry. I'm also a minister. I'm also an ordained minister, but I'm just collectively gathering all these real life experiences that we go through in the church, out the church, in the real world, stuff that happens to us, and now I wrote this book, and I can take the shades off. I don't have to have no facade, because now I'm talking about beds that don't fit, and it's taboo. And we here now.
We here.
We
Started from the bottom, now
We here. So talking about beds that don't fit. That is, listen, when I hear that title, I'm like, man, how you ever try to fit in the top of bed?
Yes, all the time.
Like,
Yeah, my baby.
I am so big.
All the time. I don't fit. It's very uncomfortable.
So without giving us too much about beds that don't fit, because we want people to buy your book, kind of tell us what inspired you to write the book, Bed That Don't Fit. And just, just tease us and let us know, like, what we can expect by reading this book.
All right. Well, it's some content about some places that I have been, where I have been delivered some situations. However, on surface level, before I get to that, I was invited to speak at a women's conference. It was Mother's Day.
Okay.
And I was just, writing my notes and praying. I said, Lord, what you want me to say? And then as I started to write, he was like, he pressed on palm my heart, because if I hear, I'm gonna say what the Lord tell me to say.
Yeah.
Tell me to say, I don't say nothing else.
Yeah.
So we started talking. It started off about keys, how you have keys and access to stuff that no longer fits. Perhaps you got old keys to old doors, like you got these big keys.
Old keys can't open new doors.
Yeah. So, but a lot of times we have keys and we're sad that it doesn't fit. And then it went on from that to the toddler bed. And then it went on to you have not just outgrown physically a bed, you have spiritually outgrown beds, you have emotionally outgrown beds, you have outgrown a lot of things that we try to hold on, and God wants to move us in a different direction. It does not fit our character. It doesn't fit where we're going. It does not fit who we are becoming. So as I began to say that, when you say beds that don't fit, and I said, I want to ask you, how many are you in beds that don't fit? And everybody just paused and like, oh, she talking about my bedroom.
Because they talk, or how many beds I've been in that I shouldn't be in.
So it was really layered, to be honest. So I explained it, I got into it, and I started ministering to the women, and then afterward, how you just kind of, you sit, and I'm like,
That started making sense.
And then I started thinking about the man that was at the pool of Bethesda. If you remember in the Bible, he sat at this pool and he needed to be healed, but he was just sitting there, and he did not get in the pool so he could be healed. And when Jesus came, he asked him, "Why didn't you get in? You could have been healed." And Jesus did not listen to his excuses. And the point of that particular surrounding that, he didn't get his bed up and walk. So we got beds that don't fit, then we sleeping in beds and we too comfortable. So all this stuff, and I'm like, this not no coincidence. I said, am I asleep? And is that me? Oh, that wasn't for them. It wasn't for the conference. The man with the bed, they got comfortable, and his so I began to write, and then I began to write, and then I began to write, and then I felt myself get into my own deliverance. because I was going through something. I got in a bad breakup, and I had all these things coming in one by one, and then it helped to unravel. Because I don't know, you all are in the church, but
that speaker not on, that mic not on. Sorry.
That's okay.
You can finish, but I'm gonna try to fix it while we talking.
Yeah, but what was I saying?
So you were saying you got into the church with that?
So with being in the church, my family, I was raised in the church. So ideally, you are taught to be a certain way.
Right.
You're taught you're supposed to be a lady. Certain things you don't say. Certain things that are not acceptable for you to say, or you're not even supposed to be thinking a certain way. So after that, and then I married into a family that was a ministry. Then I dated somebody after that, also born pretty much in the church, virgin in the church, fornication in the church, married in the church, adultery in the church, divorced again in church, married fiance again. Then I married into a family that was in ministry, then divorced again. And then in another relationship with someone that was in ministry and that was a pastor. So all these relationships, all these beds that don't fit, all these things are key. They're like, it's key. They're failing, but why are they failing? What is the key component of them failing? I'm probably the key component. I'm probably the common denominator. But then I began to dig and say, what is it? It's a little bit deeper. So I started looking at some of the issues, some of the things that I have been dealing with all my life that has been reoccurring. And that's when I began to discuss some of the things more in depth in the book, some of the relationships I talk about that I went through, to the point that I was so emotional dependent on someone because of what I had been through.
Right.
And to be let down by that person instead of looking towards God. But we're human, and our humanity, it got real crazy. It got real crazy. I got in some trouble. Some things happened. And you know how they go to the county. So, I'm just discussing a whole lot of things in this book. And I'm just being transparent. Not just for the sake of selling books. I want to sell books. But this book helped me to get free. So I feel like when I talk about this book, that now that, people look at it, and I'm sure they're like, why is she talking? Nobody care about her love life, her sex life, whatever.
I'm very well invested. I'm also that's what I'm talking about. I'm very well. I'm ready.
But I would prefer to be able to be bold enough, to be honest enough, and to be free and help somebody to be free than sit here and be fake and go through and be depressed and to be suicidal, to get locked back up, to be back on tether, to be in these toxic relationships because I cannot identify why I keep being in these cycles. Right. And if I'm in cycles, I'm thinking I'm all right. I'm like, Lord, I'm good. I go to church. I do this. I got my girl check off list. But no, you got stuff that you need to work on too. So God just started showing me. And it started because I thought I was helping somebody else.
Usually, listen, I can vouch for that because that's usually how it happens all the time. I say when I first sit down and we first started doing a podcast, I'm just genuinely talking about everyday's life and what's going on. I go home and I look at the podcast I did and be like, God, you were using me to minister to myself. So I understand completely because he does that a lot. He really does. He really do. So in this book, we can find deliverance in this book.
You definitely can define deliverance. It helps when somebody else can be transparent. I'm just saying it helps you to say, well, let me look at myself.
Right.
You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be in fear because at the end of the day, if you're spiritual or not spiritual, if it's just living life, you have to be able to look at yourself at the end of the day. Yeah. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. And if you are spiritual, if you are a Christian, you're going to have to give an account for yourself. You're going to have to give an account for your life. So I would rather get free and folks be mad at me instead of being bound.
I hear that.
And I'm suffering.
I hear that.
That's where I am.
Yeah. So you were married to a pastor, right?
Yes.
What was life like before that?
I'm sorry. I was engaged to a pastor.
Okay.
That failed. Then I was in a family where I married into a family ministry.
Okay. Is that the story?
So your husband wasn't a minister, but
My fiance was a pastor, and my ex-husband family was in ministry. So I was not ordained yet.
Right, okay,
He wasn't ordained yet.
Okay,
We were in ministry. We were practicing ministry. We were getting up 3 a.m. prayer. We were doing all the work around the church. Our life was church. However, we was toxic, but we was married.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like there was pressure, or is there pressure when you're married to a family or dating someone that is in the church, that there's pressure you got to put on a certain facade, or like how was life in the church with the family and ministry and then outside of church?
Well, it's definitely two faces, and that's why I'm here, because I had to carry the weight of that. You can never show your emotion. You never can be that transparent where it doesn't look godly, where it doesn't look holy. You can't cry, you can't fuss, you can't cuss. But we did all that. And we would be fussing, and the police would be got to the house at 3 a.m. and we had to show up on Sunday the same morning, 3 a.m. Sunday morning, be in the pulpit at 10 a.m. and we just got fit. And you better not say that. You better smile. You better act like everything's okay.
And me kids.
So yeah, he beat you up. His mama like, well, you could have went to a shelter. They got shelters for. I'm not going to no shelter for domestic abuse. Like, this is the kind of stuff. So when we were dating, we was hunching. We was doing all this kind of stuff. So in the church, if you are having a sexual relationship, if you dating, if you living with each other outside of marriage, they're gonna be like, get married. Mm-hmm. You like them, don't marry, don't care, get married. Y'all need to be married because that's God's will. So, but everybody's not compatible. I do understand that you have to have enough discipline to say, I'm not gonna do this or that. But we were adults, we made our decisions, and however, it was some pressure to get married. So we got married, and needless to say, we wasn't ready.
So, what is the marriage? What you would call a backdoor wedding? Is that what it is? Because it wasn't God ordained. Y'all wasn't equally yoked.
We were in the church, but we were not equally yoked. So that's another thing people don't understand. Just because you are in the church, inside the church, but it's the church and y'all was doing all kind of stuff.
Y'all was in the building. Okay.
We were in the.
I just want to make that clear because a lot of people think that just because someone going to church and then we are all still human and we all still have to learn and we all are on our own personal relationship with God.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just person based, people based. You know what I'm saying? What relationship do you have with God? What are you willing to give up to receive what He has for you?
Right. So the family, the church, the ministry, the community, it has an image. I get it. You don't want it to look bad. You're supposed to be Christians. Mm-hmm. Y'all out here acting crazy. I remember my father-in-law said, he said, it's not funny. He said, he said, I'm trying to save lives. You're out here trying to take lives. So, we don't want to be in conflict with the ministry, but this is real stuff that go on. You have to have that we good face all the time and knowing we not good. We got 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
But sometimes, in my opinion, I think that people need to see the real.
I feel like that.
You know what I'm saying? Because like to put on that poker face, like it kind of like bring a false narrative to people, like everything is going to be perfect because you're serving God, and that's just not the case. Mm-hmm. Like we go through our own stuff. It's going to get ugly sometimes. We're human. Our emotions go all over the place. Sometimes, I'm not saying being in a pulpit, flicking each other off and calling each other names, but people need to know. No, we are not like nigga.
Back to the parking lot, what day was in the middle of the street, like you in just place, like what?
But I feel exactly what you're saying because, like, even with me, like I used to watch this movie Greenwood, and so that is perfect, you know, but then when they go home, like you really see what it really is. But that's what we need to see, because we think that church people, I guess we think that church people is just so perfect. They don't go through nothing. They don't fight. They don't argue. Everything is just bunny rabbits and butterflies. When it's really like, no, we go through stuff
and broken windows and I'm about to cut a pole pole.
Broken eyes. Broken eyes, black eyes. Yeah, but because I always say we, but like church people go through things too. It's not always peachy creamy. It's not perfect, you know. So we do need to see that. So I thank you for writing this book. I can't wait to read it because I'm nosy.
See,
I want to know.
When you go to church, that don't mean that you're not a human.
Right.
You got humanity. You still have emotions. You still don't like people. You got to get delivered from.
Yeah, every day you got to die in your flesh.
And everybody in church ain't there for the right reason, so you got to keep that in mind. You have to have boundaries. Like all these things exist, and
I was in the church for the drummer.
Oh, see,
I stay away from the You got to talk about them drummers, but I was young. I was like 17. I was younger.
He was a drummer.
There's something about them drummers.
Stay away from all the musicians.
I'm done with them now. Leave that. You know, but it was something about that gosh darn drummer.
It is not about what you go through; it's how you get through it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And although we do go through stuff, I do understand that we're not supposed to show the world everything.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? To act like ain't nothing wrong is a problem in itself, because it confuses people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh well, I just got into it with such and such, or I'm not allowed to have this certain type of feeling. You know, and that's not fair. That could set a person back that's trying to get closer to God.
Right.
You know?
So did you feel like you couldn't speak up? Like, you know how sometimes they have like the testimony service, like if you go to Bible studies or something like that, like, you know, we tell people like what we go through or something. Like, did you feel like you couldn't speak up because of the position that you were in, or the position that the family was in the church?
Well, yes, but what happens is that after you sweep stuff on the rug so long that the pile it go up, and then you trip over it and everything's everywhere. And
it's coming out your ears. You know.
So that's what began to happen, and it was just more so a man is going to be a man. These are the side conversations I got, and I would get these testimonies from people that were older than me, like, "Oh, my husband, he did all this stuff for many years. He was a drunk. He didn't come home, and now 50 years later, we've been married, and he's a drunk." But that's not my testimony.
Right.
I don't want to be cheated on for 30 years, or they would tell me, "It's two sides to a man." You know, I'm crying and saying this happened, but like it's two sides of a man. It's the king or the clown, which
and they covering it.
It's going to be my fault at the time. So, but I was younger. I was more influential. So if you would have came to me with that bullcrap now, I would have been like, I have boundaries now. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just a lot of input in our marriage from day one. We didn't responsibly set boundaries. Mm-hmm. We didn't respectively. Or we didn't even leave the church after we got married. We were still right at the church, so we lived by the church. Like we didn't set boundaries. We just had too many people.
The church was your relationship. Mm-hmm. You didn't even really have one to yourself.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the church. Let's talk about church hurt. What did that do to you personally? And what does church hurt look like? Because a lot of times we can confuse church hurt with, oh, we just mad because somebody said something.
Church hurt, or with confused church hurt with accountability.
Right there, right, mm-hmm. Right. So
I'm sorry, I meant to answer the last portion of the question that you asked me. You said, "How did I handle it?" And did I have to be quiet? I think you had to say.
Sorry.
A lot of times, I fell back in the shadows because I didn't want to be a disturbance. I didn't want the attention to be on me. I just felt that if I just work through it, if I do what I'm supposed to do,
then it'll go away.
It's going to go away, or it's just going to get better, or who I am will shine through. I'm a good person. I love God. I'm going to do right by them, and eventually it's going to catch up. And I was waiting.
Still waiting.
It never happened. So a lot happened in between that point. So what happened was, then you asked about church hurt. So the church hurt happened in that particular relationship when him and I divorced. So to be honest, it was infidelity on both parts. It got to the point where somebody was after him. We was doing so much stuff.
Oh God.
That, you know, I was doing stuff, he was doing stuff, he was doing so much stuff that somebody was after him. to the point I had to help him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was doing so much stuff that he had to help me.
Bonnie and Clyde.
His daddy was like, I'm trying to save souls. I don't know what y'all, if y'all believe the church. Wait. But I did make good when I left, but it was just got to the point. So when that happened, we was both at fault. We was both hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, but by me being a part of that church, my children were a part of that church, and we were actively in the ministry. So at some point when I gave my tithe, I was still tithing. They was like, we don't want you or your tithe. They were, churches don't give back money. It was like, you and your tithe can go. So I was like,
and this was your husband's family.
Yeah.
So I
respected it. I said, okay, shit, I kind of need these funds.
Okay,
thank you. But it didn't hit until they was like, because my kids continued to go, and my kids were active. They were singing. They was in art ministry, and their friends was there. And that was like that.
Yeah, they couldn't go.
Their mom and their grandma and stuff, and they was like spiritually, and they was like, by the way, your kids can't come either. So now, and it hurt because I was like, no, I gotta explain to my kids, y'all can't come either. You're banned. We banned the whole time was banned. So. And then it was a continuation and was some stuff that happened. But long story short, when we divorced, the hurt came from not us just divorcing, but I feel like I was divorcing the church, then I was divorcing my family. So it felt like it was just everything was just double. It was just hurt. It was just double. So at that time, I said, all right, I got y'all. I'm gonna write this book, Church Hurt. I got you. I'm about to tell every little nasty little thing you said to me. You just nasty and toxic. So the Lord had to heal me because I never did wrote the book. I wrote a book, 21 Ways to Heal. So that produced that book. So, but yeah, it was a journey. Yeah, and that sometimes church hurt, like you said. Sometimes it's accountability, but sometimes it can be hurt and it can be abuse. You can have spiritual manipulation. Sometimes people can have like a type of abuse because they know you respect them. And they're in a position of power. But you have to be careful because you shouldn't idolize. So that's where I got in trouble. So you look to God. If you don't have pastors and leaders directing you to God, then that's a problem. Not to them. Yeah, I honor you as a man and woman of God, but you are not. God,
you're not my God.
There's a difference. When you begin to idolize, that's how we begin to fall into church hurt. Because no, this ain't right. This don't look like God. This ain't kingdom. I don't care who you is. Mama say, I'm a mama say. I don't care who you are. That's not a God. So be careful.
The idolizing is a really big thing for me. That's what I tell people all the time. Be sure not to idolize anyone. Because you're right, that's where the church hurt come from. Because if you don't idolize, you'll realize they human just like me. They mess up just like me. They not perfect. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna make bad choices. Once you understand that, like we only in the church to fellowship. You get your real ministry by reading that book of God and letting Him minister to you Himself. You know what I'm saying? You could ask somebody who's more spiritual or more empowered, more in the Bible, more than you. What does this mean? Because can you help me out? I don't understand. But God will minister to you if you give His all and you open up that Bible and you read that Bible. Idolizing is very dangerous. It is a dangerous thing.
It's dangerous because they are in a position, men and women of God, we are in a position. We hear from God. God gives us messages, words, and things for people. And that's facts. So you have to separate the person from the ministry. And that's what happened. You can't separate the emotions from ministry. You can't separate this from the ministry. So when all that's collided in, they are not God. They are the messengers of God.
Yeah.
Right. But because it's something for your life, a lot of times we confuse it because we are in the trauma. We are in the toxic stage. We are, like in my case, fatherlessness. So we got these spiritual mothers and fathers. Yeah. So now, I mean, that's the thing now, spiritual mother and fathers. In a sense, I don't think that's fair to put all that responsibility on people, but I've had spiritual mother and fathers because there's a deficit in other areas. So now I'm putting all this on you.
Yeah.
And then when they disappoint you, I don't know if you recall, but in the Wizard of Oz, what happened when Dorothy and all Toto and all them, and they wanted to see the wizard, and they finally got there.
So they think what he
and they looked back like,
you're the wizard.
I know you lying. So I feel like God does that even in preachers' humanity. He let us see their humanity. He let us see that fall. He let us see them have mistakes. That don't mean that they were any less anointed when they prayed for you.
Right. But we judged them.
Yeah. So they still pray for you.
You just put them on a higher standard that you shouldn't have.
Bring it down. They ain't Jesus. They did not be your sin. So now I have a whole different perspective. I was younger. I was more impressionable. It's just looking like, why is the church this so? Which it is, but they are human. Just like so when I have my pastors and stuff and people that pour into me, they make mistakes. I see stuff. The city of Detroit, when you mess up, they ain't forgiving. They talk. Everybody talk. But I look and I know how to pray for leaders now.
Yeah.
I don't be like he did that, she did that. Now I understand you have to cover people in prayer. Because we are not perfect. I know all the stuff that I did and God forgave me. I'm still here. And
That's
He
right.
can still use me. And He can use me.
He can use anybody.
So, that's just where I am.
And I tell people all the time, stop paying attention to the messenger and get the message.
Yeah.
You so busy looking at the messenger, you gonna miss the message.
It just takes maturity because when you come to a specific place, you expect a certain thing. So you go to the hospital, you expect some healing to be going on. You go to a restaurant, you expect for them to be serving food. You go to church, you expect for some holiness and some God to be going on. So when our expectations are not met,
yeah.
This ain't what I thought this was. So
yeah. So I have two questions, kind of. So like the first question, well, it don't matter what order. Did they divorce the husband too? The church, did they divorce him and kick him out too? And was there anybody in the church that's, that had your back, that supported you, that, or you was really just in there by yourself?
Okay. You don't know who your husband is. But what happened was the daggers that happened was from some of my sisters. I didn't know he was your husband. You see me, girl, but I didn't know that was my husband. When you were sick, I didn't know that was your husband.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I got a lot of support because initially, I got a lot of support because they saw. They knew me, they spent time with me, and they spent time with him, so they know, they like, oh, okay.
But they didn't know that was your husband.
Yeah, so, yes, sis. Sis.
Yeah, that's sis, right?
I'm with your husband, sis. I love you, sis. Church hug. I with you, sis. But congregational wise, love and support, we came one Sunday we came and wasn't supposed to come. And,
they wasn't supposed to come.
We had kicked out, but the people came while they were preaching and hugged us, so it kind of disrupted service. That's not what I meant, but but when time passes, out of sight, out of mind.
That's crazy.
So yeah, y'all love you when you sung, you served, you did, okay, out of sight, out of mind. So it's just a few. They can't really support because that's their leader, and they're not going to pick you over their leader.
But isn't that a form of judging?
Yeah.
It is. It's cliche. It's gay. We kind of got church gangs a little bit. Like, at the church, I can't mess with you for real now. You was cool with me, but you ain't cool because you ain't cool. Church.
Well, let's let the record be shown. I don't think that's all churches, but but that's the reason why a lot of us are so divided, and and the real worship of God is at a very low because people they go to church for healing. They ain't home. You don't need to die. If you don't need to go to the doctor,
right?
You know what I'm saying.
But what's funny is I left that church, and after I left, I had got kicked out. Whatever, I got kicked out. And my kids got kicked out. So he was calling me like, I think I should leave.
Oh, so he was still. So he was able to go.
Hey, I think I should leave. They don't appreciate me here. I'm like, okay, whatever. So this Negro showed up to the church I was going to. Forgive me. So he came to that church for at least 2 to 3 years where I was at, without just showing up and being a part of ministry. So, we got a way of idolizing, because that's whoever's son. So he stayed over there for a while, and then
And you left.
I didn't leave over, and we left collectively. We left at different times. So I was growing and doing different things, but he left at some point. His dad came and got him.
Mm.
You know, the mom and anyway. But yeah, they came and got him. Well, this was like 3 years later. He served at that church I was at.
Wow.
So yeah,
Where is he now?
married.
How's that going?
He seems to be happy. I'm happy for him. So we were not friends. However, we were talking on a ministerial, prophetic. I got a word from the Lord for you, which is different. Was whole different.
Mm-hmm.
But after he married, we severed those conversations. So,
Oh.
it was not a negative thing. It didn't
Okay,
end
that's
up being a
good.
continued negative thing. Yeah.
All praises. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my questions is deep. I can keep asking.
How low can you go? Let me see.
Oh, no, because I can go low. But like, so like, what was it like losing your marriage and that family as well?
Well,
I think you kind of answered that.
I said, because I didn't have no church, so because the church itself, it was a monument. It was in the community in my family. We just served. Like I said, we would be there from like 3 a.m. in the morning. Prayer 7 days a week sometimes. Like this is an altar that I could always go to. I could always pray on this altar. I could always get what I needed there, and I just had access to everything that I need. So when you lose a home, I feel like my marriage was spiritually homeless. I use that term. I was like, I'm spiritually homeless. I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm kicked out. So to the point where I know this probably sounds like real ritualistic, but I was so used to praying. Like the people that knew me in the church already, like, pastors that knew of me and they loved me. They'll be like, you can come pray on our altar. It wouldn't even be service, but I am so used to praying at an altar. I'm like, I'm here and praying at the altar because I can't go there. So that was like for a while. Like, I just need an altar. I just need a place to pray. Because I'm like, I'm spiritually homeless now. I don't got where to go.
Did you create your own altar at home?
I did. I did. However, I cried out so much deliverance happened in my family, for my sister, my daughter, my all those tears, all those, even for him when he was, my ex-husband, when he was going through something, I laid on that altar and cried out. Like, so much deliverance took place on that altar. So I had to. God was allowing me to, okay, you ain't at this church no more. I'm still everywhere. I'm still omniscient, but
it was just comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes we get comfortable. We become complacent. And we okay with being where we are. So your journey, your assignment there was just done. And we don't look at it that way. We look at it like they broke up with me.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And that's what makes it difficult, because y'all broke up with me. I want to break up with you. Don't break up with me.
Right.
When it's over. Yeah, because it's worse when they break up with you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
my children are small, so they're adults now. We still don't really talk about it. Like, we talk about the good times. We're like, remember when Bishop sung that song? But we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Do you feel like, why not?
I don't know.
Are you healed from it?
I don't know. Now that I'm talking about it,
yeah.
I think like going down memory lane. It's like, because we have not had this conversation in maybe 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Because the book was already a book, but it was revised. So the 21 Ways to Avoid Church Hurt. I had to take all the mean stuff that I was saying out the church about the church out the book. So I had to do more of the healing portion.
Mm-hmm.
But just to reflect, I guess it will always be a part of me, because all of it hit at one time. Yeah. Can you imagine everybody loving you and everybody hate Chris all at the same time? Everybody loves you, everybody hates you.
Yeah. And immediately, and you didn't even do nothing.
And just like the woman caught in the act of adultery, they stopped Jesus in the middle of his meeting. It was like, this one.
Uh-huh.
Now, she was having adultery with somebody, but they didn't bring that man. They brought that one.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be what you were doing. So it was always what I was doing. It didn't matter what nobody else was doing. And I get it. I was a comic. But Jesus said, her accusers. Can anybody in here, y'all all got sins. I'm messing it up. I'm putting it all together. Mm-hmm. But they dropped us. Yeah. So they had to drop him, and he said, where's your accuser? And she wasn't off the hook, but he didn't condemn her. He said, go and sin no more. So he said, go and sin no more. So, but my point in case is, it's always the woman. They did not pull that man up by his britches.
Of course not.
And say, you too, come on.
Because it was their son. Or was it their son?
It was his son.
And God don't operate that way. Because, like, if God tells you to do something, you his child. And if he tells somebody who like the unbelievers not to do something, he's not gonna tell them not to do that because they unbelievers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
he's gonna be mad at you more than he's mad at them. He's gonna discipline you more than he discipline them because you know me. I done showed you who I was. You know better.
Like me and you didn't got our nails done together. I didn't clean your cabinets, want your floor. We didn't cook greens. You taught me how to do red cabinets. I don't want to say that. I don't know. Yeah. So, and now I don't even talk to you. Don't worry.
No, I'm not on nobody.
Yeah.
But your child didn't have nothing to do with it, but he was right there with me the whole time. Yeah.
I've been through that. It just wasn't in the church.
Okay.
Like, so I that's why I'm asking these questions. Like, because, even from, I've been wanting to ask you these questions, but I was waiting for you to come on the show. It's been a while for this stuff. Yeah. And sometimes we think that we're healed from these things until it's time for us to really talk about it, because I'm just now getting to the point where I know that sometimes we won't get that closure. We won't get that apology that we think we deserve or anything like that. So we still have to forgive them. But like, I wanted to ask you these questions because I didn't get a chance to even ask. Well, no, I did ask this lady like what it was that I did to her for her to treat me like this, because I went through this same thing with a woman that I called my mom. So I get it. Like, okay, let's move on.
Thank you. Here's your husband. That never told my story. I let all this accusation. I let everybody say everything. I did not defend myself.
Well, baby,
because you got to explain them to
I didn't.
But this is your platform.
I didn't say
you could say as much or as little as you want to.
I didn't say what happened. I didn't say they did. I didn't say.
Do you want to talk about it? Because that's what we hear. We can turn the cameras off and we can talk.
No, it's fine because God has done so much.
Yeah,
He did so much. Like God really did His big one, and He vindicated me. I did not have to act a fool like I could show my butt like I have done in previous times. But God did vindicate me, so I did not have to do it. I was on my tippy toes to do it. However, I did not do it.
Because what's that saying? Hold your peace and let God fight your battles. And that's what He did. But I be holding my peace.
Get the
literally. I be holding my peace for real. Okay.
Yeah. So it's crazy. I mean.
Okay. Yeah, we know. Baby, I just got the notification. Thank you. Somebody just said there's a tornado supposed to be coming, so be careful. Okay. It is a storm coming. Thank you, Mama. Okay. So I do gotta. I gotta. Have you ever so from your church people, from them, did you ever like separate? What did I say? Separate God from them, but like make excuses like, oh, that's just their flesh, that's not God type thing. Like, I don't even know how to ask the
make
question.
It spiritual. Did I try to spiritual?
Yeah. Instead of calling a spade, did you try to cover it up and be like, okay, well,
I think I've always done that ever since I was a child, because I've seen that again. I just seen it always done. We never talk bad, or even if it was the truth, we just didn't discuss it. So, and while I was going on, I just was like, I knew the truth, but I was just quiet. I didn't say anything because I just thought that was like a big deal. Like, you don't do that.
You was trying to protect their reputation, but what about yours? Well, God protected you then.
I just didn't even look at it like that because I've always seen the woman get beat up. You go.
Yeah.
They really don't care because you're not a brand name. You're not.
I was just about to say.
Like, we care, but we don't really care.
I was just about to say, was it because it was, excuse me, because he was their child? Like, you felt like you didn't, like your voice really didn't matter. You didn't matter because it was. And
I've always seen when you make a little splash, it's just gonna be more of a problem. And I just seen how people turn on you, but they were already turned. But I just feel like this is gonna get too big. It's gonna be too bad.
Messy.
It's too messy. I'm just going on about my business, and I'm gonna go to a church. I'm not gonna leave the church. I'm gonna find a small church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sit down. Ain't nobody gonna know it's me or bother me. Not like so many people know me, but like I'm so famous. But I'm gonna go sit down where don't nobody know me. They don't know I can sing. They don't know nothing about my ministries. And I'm gonna sit down. So that's what I tried to do. I did try to go somewhere and sit down and just heal so I could take in the word because I needed to be poured in because I was always pouring. I was not receiving. So I needed to go somewhere where I could just sit down.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to put notes in my notebook, highlight my Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do anything but sit.
Mm-hmm.
Is your perspective different now as far as keeping quiet and just allowing people to just say what they want to say or not speaking up for yourself when it's the truth?
So that's kind of how we got to this book.
Oh.
And
Getting there.
so long, I was holding in years until the right person, the wrong person was the right person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they got everything. So they got the explosion. So when because after my ex-husband, I hadn't dated and been in no serious relationship for years. So, I'm like, this guy's a good guy. Family, blah, blah. We doing ministry together. It's about to pop. So when the disappointment came, and it came to like a shocker, I snapped.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, I went there.
Mm-hmm.
I went there.
The rub on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened. It was emotional. It was just no stability, just not even me recognizing myself. Now, I don't never ever want to see her no more. Mm-hmm. I don't even know who she is. Mm-hmm. She scared me.
Yeah. And so, did he deserve that?
No.
He did not deserve that. However, again, it happened because of me sweeping stuff under the rug, not knowing how to address it, seeing things, and being afraid to address it because I'm feeling, if I address it, then he's going to feel kind of way. He's going to pull back. Always thinking, like you said, about the other person. Not thinking about myself. Like, you worthy. You got value. So what? If he leaves, so what? But I was so used to people pulling away. Not having an identity. The only identity you have is the church or being with a man or a man. Some kind of masculine identifying through thinking that love comes through sex, thinking it comes through bed, thinking it comes through companionship, just not wanting to feel the separation.
Yeah.
Like if I say something, it's gonna be some breakage.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to feel it. And it's better off just to be quiet because at least he's here. Mm-hmm. So, you can, okay, how strong are you? Okay, you handle that. You took that. Okay, you good. You took that.
You done already won your hardest battles.
You still taking stuff, okay? But God said, I didn't tell you to take this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so this big one that is about to drop, let's see how you do with this one. Mm-hmm. And things feel where they may. Okay.
Yeah, I am excited. I'm just going to be honest. I cannot wait to read this book. I am so excited. I feel like I may find some healing in this book as well. Like,
which chapter do you feel like is the hardest? What was the hardest? Let me look.
There's some talk about suicide.
Okay.
So when I was actually writing it, I had to stop and tears started to fall because I was just like, I was actually in this place. I was this low.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you was messed up. It wasn't even the part about getting locked up. It was the part where you just feel like you didn't want to be here no more. Just felt empty. And I'm like, you got kids, you got grandkids. And my daughter called me during that time. And she was like, I talked to my grandson. I don't know, maybe she picked me up in the spirit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, people do love you. You got to come out of this. Mm-hmm. You got to come. People love you. Stop listening to the devil. Mm-hmm. That's just one person.
Nothing but that's all it was.
You have worth to you. You have value to you. But when you get such in a space, and I don't think it's that a person necessarily wants to die per se. We're talking about suicide, but you just want that pain. You just want that whatever you feeling to stop. Mm-hmm. that attachment. You know, I didn't want to feel that again. I didn't want to feel that hurt. But it was necessary to go through it. So
Absolutely.
because it was bad, it was toxic, it was poison. What happens when you keep taking poison? I don't care about the dosage. So you know, if you ain't got the mind to do it, God has a will and a purpose for us, and He not gonna let His children stay in stuff that's not meant for them.
Absolutely.
So whether we come to our senses or not,
If you somehow, it's gonna pull us out.
He gonna pull you out, and it might not be the way you want it to be pulled out, but you know,
Things may get stretched out a little bit. You may be feeling real uncomfortable, but you gotta have time.
for me, I say God cares about He cares about us so much that He don't mind hurting your feelings and having you shed tears to save your soul, and that's where I was at. He ain't care nothing about them tears.
I don't care about them tears. Should you get it together?
You crazy. You need to come out of this today. Because the devil's come to steal, kill, and destroy. You lining up for him to do exactly that.
Right.
And then you start to compromise your walk because now, you about to get hurt again. Why? Because you just start idolizing this person. You back in adultery again. Not adultery. How you say it? The IDOLTRY. You back there. Yes, you're there again. You back in there. You was just in there again.
Yeah.
Now you hurt again, ain't you?
Oh, it's only one thing. Somebody had told me, they said, the reward of a narcissist. Like, it's a, how do it go? It says, if you have a narcissist as a mate, it's because you idolize them.
Yeah. Girl.
They said if you have a narcissist, that's because you idolize them. So now I try to be very careful and very I don't need no number. Thank you, God. I try to be very careful and very intentional about, making sure that everybody knows that God is the head of my life and nobody, and I do mean nobody, comes before Him. And that's what happens a lot of times, even me, because again, quiet. I found that. Sorry, I was wrong. Seeking approval. Always seeking approval. If you good, you deserve love. It's not a message that you mean to give your kids, but it happens. Yeah. And then you carry that on. And if you never break into that, you always seeking some approval for love. And at what point but you still seeking approval. You still making out of the people, and you still hurt. I still find myself. That was for me. Look, and I had to check myself. I'm like, no, the only approval you need is God. You don't need nobody to tell you that you're good. You don't need nobody to tell you that you're doing a good job. You don't need nobody to tell you that. God shows you that. And
I'm still battling that.
But I thought that if I did everything, they tell you to do, it'll work. It'll be better. But guess what? They only want more. That's it. They only want more. So you need everything that they ask you to do. It's not enough. You clean, you wash, I need more. I need more. Yeah. And you're not getting more. And you're not getting not half of what they require of you. Oh. So then what happened? What do you do? What do you do? You don't do nothing. You better go right to
you feel like is there something in here that you felt like that you was scared for to come out? Yeah, to come out. Like, were you afraid of what someone may have thought, like, or what would have came from it? Like, the title blew me. That was a very good title. It is. Tell me, because Ben said that's it, honey. Like, they gonna be thinking I'm a hoe. I'm sorry, y'all, but it's fine. You can think whatever you want to do. This is my freedom. This is my deliverance. Transformation of a life. Whatever best that don't fit. Trying to find companionship. Trying to find healing through people, through men, through relationship, through whatever. It just don't fit you no more. Right. And just trying to find. But see, I think that a lot of times we wasn't taught of how to actively wait for the man to come, and when they come, what is this man gonna look like? Not the physical appearance, but I'm talking about his attributes. Who is he? What does he like? Who does it match yours? We wasn't taught that, so we didn't know to look for that.
And because we wasn't taught that, we end up in beds that don't fit.
Trying to make a fit.
You know, I like you because you were so fine and you used to do this and you used to do that, but you're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I like you for what you can do. Like, yeah, I do love you, but I love what you can do for me.
Do you make me feel safe? Do you support my visions? You know what I'm saying? Are you God fearing? You know, those type of things. Like, we end it looking one way, and then they end up looking a different way, and then it never meets up. It's like that combativeness all the time. So no, this does not make you look like a whore. It makes us realize what we as women go, and men too. Some men can vouch for this. They go through the same stuff.
Yeah.
What we go through trying to find that one person, our one. What is our one soulmate? We sleep in beds. Either it's too big or it's too small, but
They don't fit.
regardless, it don't fit.
Your feet hanging off the bed, your back hurt.
And the reason why I like this title is because it's not biased. It's not beds that's too small. It's beds that's so don't fit because sometimes you come into the ship and you ain't got all the qualities that someone is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not biased. That's what I like about it the most.
So when you get into beds and they fit, and you have to be careful with that because you could be in a dangerous place when you're too comfortable. You can stay in a place too long. You get too comfortable and it becomes dangerous. You don't move on. You don't grow. So you just have to be careful. And then the ones that fit, and especially the ones that fit.
So you gotta find the beds that when they get small, it gets small for the both of you together, and y'all both move on to a bigger bed.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Beds together. So after you wrote this book, like, did it help you heal? And what does freedom look like for you today?
It helps me, even now, it helps me realize that I don't need anybody's permission to be authentic with me. Just be you.
Okay. The best you can be. God only made one you.
And they're not going to like you, but they still don't like you while you pretending to be somebody else. So pick a side.
Okay. They ain't gonna like you if you good. They ain't gonna like you if you bad. They ain't gonna like you if you're skinny. They ain't gonna like you if you're bad.
They're not. So who you trying to please? Like, this between you and God.
You and God.
You got to get comfortable in your own skin and be yourself. You don't have a facade. You don't need to be in the facade, and you need to know who you are. Identity. Right. I did not know I was struggling with identity.
Yeah, a lot of us do and don't know.
So that whole piece right there, I got to get to know me. You know, because from a perspective, being in the church, you serve. You make sure everybody's okay in the prospective role. So I've always, my kids got to be okay. My children got to be okay. My man got to be okay. Everybody be okay. And then if you okay, you okay. But if you're not, you're not. So you worry about you later.
Yeah, we always put ourselves last. Like, we don't never think about our feelings. We always, and I used to talk about that too. I'm always dimming my feelings for somebody else to make sure that they okay. So I kind of walk on eggshells so I don't make you mad or make you feel any type of way, even though certain things that you do or say make me feel some type of way. But how can I keep saying you matter, your feelings matter, your voice matter, but I don't say the same thing for myself?
And then when you do try to speak up,
they upset. You get mad. That's straight narcissist.
but it's not just in a relationship. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's in family shifts. It's in, you know what I'm saying? Any shift. Friendship, relationship. Yeah, it's in any shift. That ain't okay. Because that's something that I had to learn. Like, and what made me really honestly start thinking about my identity is my daughter's getting ready to graduate. Well, they graduated now, but my daughter's getting ready to leave the house. They the last babies. So now I'm like, dang. I spent all my time taking care of my kids, and I did it with grace, and I, you know. It's beautiful. I just want to figure out who I am. Yeah. Not as a wife. Not as a mom. Without the title. Who am I? What do I like to do? What is it what was going to fulfill, what's my purpose? What's going to fulfill me? You know? And that's what made me start doing my searching and stuff and start, you know. Like, okay, God, work with me. Tell me what's next, because I know that you're the only one who can fulfill me. You're the only one who can. So
yes, that reminds me of something my cousin said. Shout out to Reverend Stacy, my cousin. And
Stacy who?
Shrimp out of he's in Flint, and he said, Risha, because my son is graduated from school. He's in another state, and my daughter's grown up, and she has her own place. So, I'm used to being a mom and doing stuff. And he said, I'm an educator, I'm doing all these things. He said, it's more to you than just being a mother and a wife and all this stuff you named off. I'm like, it is. It's like, it's more than you. It's more to you than that. I'm like, oh, okay, let me try to find out.
Stop it.
And so I'm trying to find out.
So have you found out?
I'm in the journey.
Okay, now.
It's more stuff that makes me happy.
Right, you dating yourself.
I am. And with ministry, I am even reminded in the same sense, people keep coming up, don't shrink.
Yeah.
Be you, it's okay. You ain't gotta shrink that up. Be who you are. If it's in ministry, if it's in your career, if it's in your relationship, you should not shrink. So I'm constantly reminding myself,
Right.
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
It was learned, so it has to be unlearned.
Absolutely.
Some stuff was good. It was meant to be good. It was helpful. However, sometimes you got to start from scratch and throw some stuff away. Just throw it away. Just throw it away.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that's the hardest part, but gotta do it.
I'm skipping a lot of questions because I do want to ask this question though. So like, if your ex-husband and their family was watching today, like, or if you seen, have you seen him?
Oh, every time I see him, I gonna say that.
Oh, yeah, I want to know. Let me.
You be cringing.
A little bit. Cause I don't gotta pretend no more. It's like, but I'll be doing. They be pretending, but it's okay. It's okay.
So what would you say to them? Like, if you had the opportunity to talk to them,
I did forgive them. I had a conversation with them, and I asked. It was not a mutual, but I'm not gonna make a big deal. But yeah, we had a conversation. I will just say we did make peace. However, I don't hold any grudges or anything against them, but I probably wouldn't have too much to say.
Okay. You walk. Once upon a time, I didn't know.
Yeah, but I probably would have.
We better again.
Yeah, I would. What's to say?
So do you believe that people stay in unhealthy marriages or relationships because they're married to a title instead of a person?
Absolutely.
That was good.
Can you repeat that question?
Do you believe that people stay in unhealthy marriages or relationships because they're married to titles instead of the person?
Yes, because they have a lot at stake. They want to sometimes keep up a certain persona. They have things to lose. Sometimes it's just financial. If we split, then
it's cheaper to keep her.
It's cheaper to keep her. So you can go sleep. Well, our house is big enough. You can go sleep in that wing. I'll be in that wing, or you be in your room up there. Your room. So do you, boo?
Okay. Do you, boo boo?
Do what's best for you.
Okay. All right.
I'm a little different. I can't be looking at somebody I don't like, and you can go. Let's see, you maybe got to work over.
Yeah.
You can go. You can go.
So after everything that you've endured, everything that you went through, all the relationships, the church hurt, the disappointments, the putting things under the rug, not putting yourself first, putting you last, not knowing who you truly are. What is one thing that you know for sure that today, no matter what, no matter if you want another relationship, whatever it is, that can't nobody take away from you?
The crushing that I experienced produced something in me that I couldn't buy, something I wouldn't be able to experience. I don't care if I sit in under 100 pastors and 1,000 church services. The relationship that I have now with God.
All praises. So what they meant for bad, God made it for good.
Okay.
I can't even phantom. I cannot even explain.
Yeah.
The time, the relationship. I'm just not even the same person. Not even spiritually. Good. I didn't even know that this place was in God.
Oh, right.
So it grows more and more every day. So, I found out, I was studying about the olive oil. We were talking about the olive, and there's a process to the crushing where you get the olive oil. There's a process where you have to crush. You have to crush. But there's seven phases of just crushing to get the best part. I thought, yeah.
So you went through it.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, it was something to this. I mean, if he would have told me, I wouldn't have wanted to go through. But I don't understand. But I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm in such a better place. I have, not to be super spiritual, but I'm just so more in tune, more anointed, more power, more bold, more strength. Like I'm not the same person.
Yeah, that's so good.
I'm not the same person. I am not.
So good.
So yeah, I am grateful.
On my end, people just said hi, but they didn't really have no questions. So
somebody said, "Why are you whispering?" I'm so sorry, y'all. They had some good questions. Somebody said, "Forgive and forget." Dave did. And it's an investment. I don't know what part that was. My homeboy Trini said, "Sure is cheaper to keep her."
Cheaper to keep her.
Yeah. So yeah. We thank you for coming on. And joining us on today. It was a long time coming. We've been dipping and dabbing. But I know you know this, but your story isn't over because someone hurt you. We thank you for telling your testimony because a lot of us need to hear that. And sometimes God allows our pain to become that very testimony that sets someone else free.
Amen.
So I know, I used to be like, I really didn't want to tell what I go through because I don't want people in my business. Somebody will always be like, "Why are you telling people your business?"
Right.
But it's not that. Like everything, I believe that everything that I went through and I grew through was a story that I had to tell somebody because we're not the only ones that's going through it. So, and sometimes even though we grew through it, we still harbor in that pain. Like we think that we're healed from it until we start talking about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we start feeling it. But it's necessary for us to go feel those emotions again so that we can properly free ourselves from it. So even with you writing your book, you had to go face these things again, feel them again to free yourself from it. And that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
And even for you not to have written that book that you wanted to write, and God turned that into something great. 21 ways of healing from church hurt. Mm-hmm. I want that too because I want to read that. Because I don't really go to church. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of things that I've dealt with in the church. Like I said, I used to go to church just for the drummer. You know what I'm saying? And then the older I got, I started to really pay attention to God, and God started bringing my family to church, so like my mom and them, so they can get healed too, because like now I'm paying attention to the word. Oh, okay, God. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you have to stop paying attention to the messenger and pay attention to the message, because a lot of times we judge who that message is coming from. Mm-hmm. Even me, like it be like when I do my lives and we do these things right here, it's always people talking about something like, "Yeah, I don't know what y'all talking about," or "Girl, you think you know it all?" No, I don't know it all, but I studied a lot to know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I've experienced a lot to know what I'm talking about. You paying attention to the wrong thing. Just pay attention to the message, because the message could be for you.
And the courage, though, alone. And then, like, for me, it was the shame for a long time. It's always been the shame.
Yeah.
It's always been what are people going to think. But when I got to a certain point, it's like, you care more about what people think, or you want to still just stay broken. That's crazy to me.
That's it.
You going to just stay broken because of shame.
And stay attached to no people who broke us. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. That is so good. So again, we thank you for coming on here and telling your testimony. I'm sure we're gonna think about later on things that, dang, I should have asked her this, or dang, I should have said this. But I know that whatever it is that you were supposed to say, God allowed you to say on this platform tonight. We're gonna stay connected so we can always talk. So
before we get ready to leave, is there anything else that you want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, I just want to say stay tuned in. This is a marvelous platform. If you can, go out and get the book, Beds That Don't Fit. Beds That Don't Fit by Risha Mack is available on Amazon.com. If you want to peek, I got a book called 21 Ways to Avoid Church Hurt Before, During, and After. If you are contemplating going to church, or if you left the church, this is a good read. I just want to say that a lot of times the enemy knows that there's a blessing, there's breakthrough there. Yeah. It's like you said, the coming together of families. When you're in the house of the Lord, there's a covering. Yeah. So if you're not under a covering, sort of say, I'm not telling you to go in a burning building. Now, if it's on fire, like you're in a house, I'm not telling you to go somewhere there's abusive, there is not the word of God being preached, but find a church. And the devil knows that if you're not under a covering, then if you've been offended, you're not going to be in the church.
Mhm.
You're going to be outside the covering, and then what are you going to do? You're going to go back outside and be in the world. So that kind of puts your family in danger. That puts your children in danger. That interrupts the process that God is doing, and the enemy knows that. So, I mean, every man and woman of God is not bad. That is not true. There are men and women of God that are after God's heart. Yes, stay away from the manipulative places. I always say be a fruit inspector. Check when you go to the grocery store, you check that fruit. You don't bring no spoiled or old fruit home.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing likewise. That book is on Amazon.com, 21 Ways to Avoid Church Hurt. And if you want to get this book that we've been speaking about, that is also available right now. The book release is not until August, but
Okay, let's go.
it's out there.
It's out here, so y'all make sure y'all tune in and follow. You can follow her on all platforms. Risha Mack.
Yes, Risha Mack.
Okay, so y'all know tonight she just reminded us that survival is possible. Y'all can't see me over there. Healing is possible, and purpose is born from pain. Oh, that's a good title.
Yes. You might have to take your notifications.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm studying now.
She better put me in the what you had to do in college when you write a paper. Like in the reference.
I'm gonna say, like my girl Angel said.
Yes, so yeah, we thank you. And I just got 2 more questions for you. If you could look back, or if you could, I always do this to people that come on here. Oh, it's over there. So you can just use this as a mirror.
Okay.
In a minute. But if you could look back at the unhealed, well, we still going through our healing process, but if you could go back to the few years and you can see yourself in a mirror as that unhealed person, what would you say to her?
The person that was actually going through what she was going through at that moment, what would you say to her?
You don't understand it right now. What you are feeling is real. Just walk away.
Yeah. So if you can look at yourself in the mirror today, that healed you, the growing, the improving you, what would you say to her?
Girl, I know you went through a lot, but hang on in there. You on the way. You surpassed a lot of things. You'll be fine. God is with you. And I love you.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
That is so good. Well, I'm going to let you know that I'm so proud of you because it takes a lot of courage. I know I think I said that already, but I'm very proud of your strength to get through it. Like, and just the glow that you have, you can tell that you are genuinely happy and you are genuinely healing and God is really in you. So I can see it. I can feel it. So like, it's good. It's good. And I believe that God timing is everything because before when you were supposed to come, I wasn't even in the right space, mentally to even want to even come here, talk to nobody or do any of that. And sometimes God be working on us. And it's so happened that when God is working on her, me, it's the same thing together.
Wow.
So, and I feel like once we start getting ourselves together, He bring us right back here together because we can't be a mess trying to minister to anybody. Because when we do come on this podcast, first of all, we got to pray about anybody that come on here. And a lot of times we don't even know what we're going to say. We don't have whatever God put on us to say is what we say. So we always go back and look back and I'm like, dang, Katie. But I'm real big on taking notes too. Okay. So as you see, she just closed her book. So I had my little notes. I asked questions that, I be in people's business.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be I be in people's business. Like I really want to know because, like I said, I went through the same thing that you went through. It just wasn't in the church. It was with a different type of family. So, and I remember your testimony over there, and and it just touched my little heart.
Oh my God,
it's you bleeding, but you bleeding.
Yeah, yes, everywhere. So yeah. So we thank you. Any questions for our ladies and gentlemen? Keep playing. Men have stories too. Absolutely, men definitely have stories, and that we don't to tell y'all stories. We don't. Y'all, we have talked about it, but David, I know you got a story.
We're not discriminating. If you want to come on, you want to.
He in Maryland, but you still can hop on this thing and make it work. You don't have to travels. He travels.
You don't even have to travel. We could do it virtually. Virtually.
Yeah.
So when you're ready, just let us know.
And we just want to say again, thank y'all for following us. Thank y'all for hopping on this thing with us. We back. Yeah, we took that little break, but we back and we better than ever.
I want y'all to show Risha some love.
Please give her a book.
I really feel
Reach out to her, follow her.
I really enjoyed this tonight. I actually did learn a lot. And a lot about myself. I learned a lot about myself just as to you speak, and I kind of knew that I would. So I thank you for coming. I really appreciate that, and for having having the courage to speak up and speak out. The one thing that I want to leave you guys with is do not idolize anyone. I say that all the time. But idolizing people is so dangerous, you know what I'm saying? Because they put you in situations that you can't get out of by yourself. And the one thing that God hates more than anything is idolatry. So be careful not to do that, okay? And keep on watching, y'all, because we growing and we glowing and we growing and we glowing. So just keep on watching and be ready to see what's up next. That's all I have to say.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you
So your audience.
Thank you. Thank y'all. So y'all already know how we do it as y'all go about y'all day. Know that you matter, your feelings matter, your voice matter, your purpose matter, your vision matter. Don't give up on you. And as always, remember to smile, boo, because it looks good on you. And as always, remember to live in peace.
And if you don't have the piece right now, don't be afraid to work for it because it's yours.
Okay.
Talk to you guys later.